Female infidelity is always a symptom. The issue doesn't always lie solely with the partner or the woman herself, but there is always a deeper process at play, one that needs to be understood not with judgment, but with attention to psychological needs. Today, I'll talk about the 5 main reasons that can push a woman to cheat. Sometimes it's the man who unknowingly leads her there. As we know, male and female infidelity are very different. Most men are naturally more prone to polygamy, and that's no surprise, as it's rooted in biology. The male's evolutionary role is to fertilize as many females as possible. That's why male cheating is often driven by sexual desire, fueled by an inner instinct. But what about women? For women, things are completely different. In nature, the main task of the female is to choose the best partner, the one who will give her the strongest offspring. And this is where the key reason for female infidelity lies. On a subconscious level, women are always drawn to stronger partners. And it's not necessarily about money or material benefits, as is often assumed. Yes, it's true that an emotionally strong man, someone with inner strength and drive, often ends up successful and financially secure. But what actually attracts a woman is not wealth itself, but the emotional admiration she feels for a man. Imagine a woman married to a man who works a regular job and enjoys drinking beer with his colleagues in the evening. Will she admire him? Probably not. Now picture another man, someone passionate about his work, who built his career or business from scratch, who is energetic and unpredictable. Will she admire him? Absolutely. So here lies one of the most fundamental reasons behind female infidelity: a lack of emotional admiration for her partner. Now the question arises, why would a woman marry someone she doesn't admire? There could be many reasons: family pressure, religious or social expectations, personal circumstances, or past traumas. But these are external factors that may have pushed her into making a decision that wasn't truly aligned with her inner self. And what about the cases where a woman did marry someone she loved deeply, someone she once admired? Of course she admired him, but over time, maybe under the weight of life circumstances or, on the contrary, because life became more stable and predictable, he lost his spark. And when a woman stops seeing potential in her man, she loses admiration, and with it, her emotional connection. As a result, she may shift her attention to someone who reignites that spark of admiration. A woman's infidelity that stems from a lack of emotional admiration isn't just cheating, it's a signal. A sign of an internal rupture that may have been silently growing for years. And it's crucial not just to condemn or justify the act, but to understand its deeper roots. When a woman stops admiring her partner, she begins to lose the sense of aliveness in the relationship, emotional excitement, the feeling of being mirrored, where her partner reflects her worth, beauty, and depth. This doesn't necessarily mean that the man is bad or not enough. But when the dance between masculine and feminine energy fades, when surprise, inspiration, deep respect, or subtle erotic tension that flows not just from the body but from the soul disappears, a woman begins to lose herself. And often, cheating is not about sex, it's about trying to reconnect with herself, with the part of her that is alive, sensual, desired, the part no one has seen in a long time. A woman is never forced to cheat, but she may become so emotionally starved that she begins to search for herself in someone else, through a new gaze, a new body, a new story. And in the moment when another man sees her, something reawakens inside her, something that's been long turned off at home. A woman may cheat not for the sake of sex, but for the sake of attention, warmth, and recognition. When emotional presence is missing from a relationship for a long time, she starts looking for what she's lacking. It's a well-known fact that female infidelity is most often rooted in emotional needs. That is, before she cheats physically, a woman usually cheats emotionally. She starts noticing someone, getting attached, exchanging and receiving emotions from her lover. This is often seen in relationships where the man gives more time to himself and his hobbies than to his partner. And what about work? Again, let's go back to nature. For the vast majority of men, personal fulfillment has always been, and still is, their top priority. Historically, the main goal of a man has been to pursue his passion. Men with a strong inner core often turn their hobby into a career and source of income. Those who haven't succeeded in doing so usually create the following hierarchy. Me and my hobbies work. Even if it's not loved, we all have to eat. Wife or girlfriend in more complex cases. Somewhere between work and his partner, you'll find friends, his family of origin, or endless scrolling on social media. And this is the moment when a woman starts to feel lonely and completely shattered. These relationships no longer inspire her or give her what she needs most, the feeling that she is a woman. As a result, this indifference creates an emotional emptiness in the relationship. Most women require emotional intimacy in order to feel sexual desire. We talked about this in one of the previous videos. I highly recommend watching it. If this need is ignored for years, the body and soul can begin to detach from the long-term partner, and emotional openness to someone new can emerge. When a woman cheats because of emotional emptiness, it's not about sex, it's about pain. It's about a deep longing for closeness, presence, and being seen. A longing that has gone unanswered. And it doesn't happen only when everything is falling apart. Quite often, the opposite is true. The household runs smoothly, the couple functions as a team, and there are no open conflicts. But something essential is missing. Real, living connection, honest conversations without masks, eye contact that goes deeper than "how was your day?" Touches that reach not only the body, but the soul, emotional acceptance and space to simply feel. A woman can endure, stay silent, try to work on the relationship for a long time. But when her soul is starving, she starts to search for even a few crumbs of real connection with someone who truly sees her. In such cases, infidelity becomes a form of escape from emotional isolation. It's not always conscious. Often, it's a survival act for a psyche that can no longer bear the emptiness. And when someone new appears, someone who listens, asks deeper questions, sees her differently, she wakes up. And this awakening can be deeply painful. Behind cheating lies a story of lost emotional intimacy. It's not about a bad woman. It's about an emotional world that has gone unseen for far too long. And if that pain isn't unpacked and understood, it will either repeat itself in future relationships or turn inward as deep self-devaluation. A woman may cheat to feel desired, alive, and interesting again. Infidelity can be a way to reclaim her youth, a second chance, a sense of control over her body or her life. This often shows up in women between the ages of 30 and 35. Another common trigger for cheating is a self-esteem crisis, especially if it stems from past trauma or shock. For example, she may feel unfulfilled in motherhood. Her partner may no longer express emotional or sexual interest, or she may struggle with an unstable self-image. Women tend to be more emotionally vulnerable due to constant hormonal fluctuations, influenced by the menstrual cycle, social and family stress, sexual activity, and more. During a period of identity crisis, which frequently occurs between 30 and 35, infidelity can be triggered by deep reflection. Who am I? What do I want? What have I lost? She may realize she didn't achieve something important, made mistakes, or let something go. And if emotional disconnection exists in her relationship, the result can be a woman seeking validation and value through another man. Female infidelity caused by a self-esteem or identity crisis isn't about betrayal. It's an inner cry, "I've lost myself." It's not about sex. It's about trying to come back to the alive version of herself. It's a way of reevaluating who she is at a deep level. After turning 30, a woman often begins to see herself differently, through the lens of fatigue, disillusionment, daily routines, motherhood, and the fading of sensuality. Her self-esteem becomes fragile. Her identity begins to blur. She may quietly ask herself a terrifying question: is this it? Is this who I am? This is an existential crisis, a loss of inner selfhood. Yes, she has been a wife. Yes, she's been a mother. Yes, she might be considered successful, but has she been herself? Truly herself often? No, at this time her inner sense of value starts to shift. She's no longer sure she's worthy just as she is, because for so long she's had to earn love. She hasn't received it unconditionally. On top of that, her body feels like a stranger. It has been useful, carrying pregnancies, breastfeeding, staying attractive for her partner, but it has lost connection with her. It has lost its link to her desires. Then, a new connection, even outside her primary relationship, can become a psycho-emotional mirror where she suddenly sees herself again. I can still be desired, alive, interesting, whole. In truth, infidelity at this stage is often a woman's attempt to listen to herself, to figure out what she really wants, to reconnect with her body, to reclaim the image of herself as a woman, not just a mother or a wife, to raise her self-worth. I'm attractive to other men, not because I cook or clean well, but simply because I am me. Sometimes it's an attempt to separate from external expectations. She doesn't have to be the perfect wife, perfect mother, perfect partner. She just wants to be herself, real, alive. This kind of infidelity may not be a cause, but a symptom, a cry for freedom, for clarity, for feeling again. But real transformation doesn't come from an affair, it comes from an inner meeting with oneself. Cheating often happens in relationships where a woman feels suffocated or controlled. In some cases, infidelity becomes a way to break free from the role of the good girl and reclaim her autonomy. Sometimes it's an echo of unresolved childhood trauma or ingrained patterns. For example, if her father cheated, she may have internalized the idea that infidelity is a normal part of relationships, and subconsciously repeat that pattern in adulthood. Or, if as a child she grew up under constant parental control, the only way to feel free may have been through rebellion. As an adult, even if her partner isn't controlling, she might still feel the need to do something bad, like cheating, in order to feel free. Female infidelity, driven by unhealed childhood trauma or a deep hunger for freedom, is rarely about another person. More often, it's about an inner conflict that has been building for years. Deep down, this woman still feels like the little girl who once felt controlled, unseen, and restricted. She wasn't allowed to have her own will, desires, or emotions. She was expected to be good, to adjust, to suppress her feelings. And now, as an adult, she's subconsciously trying to escape that emotional prison, even if her current relationship seems normal from the outside. In such cases, infidelity is not an act of destruction, but a psychological attempt to break free from a role that is suffocating her. Cheating here isn't just about sex. Often, it's the first time she allows herself to say yes or no without needing permission. It's a desperate attempt to step out of the role of the proper woman, wife, or mother. It may even be an unconscious form of revenge for the suppression she endured as a child. It's her way of telling the world, and herself, I don't belong to anyone, I am free. But here lies the deeper issue. The inner prison doesn't disappear when we escape physically, it lives inside. And ironically, even after cheating, the woman often doesn't feel truly free. Instead, she is met with guilt, shame, and an even deeper sense of disconnection from herself. Because infidelity doesn't heal childhood wounds, it only numbs them temporarily. That's why women who cheat for these reasons often end up in long-term affairs, seeking not just passion, but emotional liberation. Female infidelity is often a subconscious battle, a fight with the pain no one noticed when she was a child. Instead of punishing herself or living in guilt, it's important for her to finally say, I won't keep running. I'm ready to listen to myself. This kind of infidelity does not make a woman bad. It simply says, I can no longer live without myself. Female sexuality is deep, fluid, and cyclical. If her partner shows no interest in her erotic world, she may begin to seek someone who wants to explore her body, fantasies, and desire. Infidelity driven by sexual dissatisfaction or a lack of intimacy isn't just about the body. It's a mirror of deeper emotional and relational needs. It's a signal of emotional, physical, or psychological dissatisfaction in the relationship. And it's important to understand, cheating doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's often the result of unspoken needs, repressed desire, and a growing sense of isolation within the relationship. When there's no living sexuality in a couple, no erotic tension, no playfulness, no openness to new experiences, a woman can start to feel invisible, both emotionally and physically. She may still love her partner and yet feel not alive. For most women, sex is not just a physical act. It is a deep fusion of body, emotion, and psyche, routine, lack of novelty, a partner's fear of experimentation, the absence of genuine physical intimacy when he simply performs a function, unspoken fantasies and desires, the dismissal of her sexual needs, emotional distance that spills into sex. All of this creates a growing gap in the couple's intimate life. The woman begins to feel unwanted, as if her desires are forbidden, no longer alive or desired, scared to be open, for fear of being judged or misunderstood. And the most painful part? It is her partner who makes her feel this way. Then someone else appears, a man with a new gaze, a little flirtation, some physical attention. And for the first time in a long time, she feels alive. This kind of cheating isn't just about sex. It's about the need for awe, for erotic play, for openness. It's about the need to feel like a woman, not just a partner, mother, or wife. The need to explore her sexuality without shame. Often, cheating could be avoided simply by acknowledging, without blame, that something is missing for her. To explore that together, with honesty, her needs, her fantasies, her fears. It's essential to start a real conversation about sex with her partner, about what's uncomfortable, what's desired, what's been silenced, with tenderness and with truth. And if needed, there's no shame in seeking support from a sexologist or therapist. Sexuality is not something that should just work on its own. It is an open partnership of body and soul, and it often requires learning, communication, and care. Female infidelity rooted in sexual dissatisfaction is often a desperate attempt to reclaim the alive, embodied, sensual part of herself. It's not that she's unfaithful. It's that her sexuality has been suffocated, unseen, devalued, or made taboo, and she can no longer live cut off from herself. Because a woman doesn't just have the right to be in a relationship, she has the right to be desired, to be sensual, to be alive. Infidelity is not a solution, it's a symptom. It speaks not only of a woman's personal crisis, but also of systemic issues in the relationship that were silenced, tolerated, or never addressed. It's not only about broken trust, it's a signal. A sign that something in the relationship, or within the woman herself, has been left unseen, unheard, unloved for far too long. This video is not an excuse for cheating. It's a way to understand its essence, so we can either avoid it or stop repeating old patterns, and instead build relationships where each person has the right to be heard, to feel alive, and to be fully themselves. If you recognized yourself in any part of this video, know this: you're not alone, and change is possible. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss upcoming videos on relationship psychology, deep femininity, and the truth about yourself. Share in the comments. What do you think about female infidelity? Is it pain, a search for self, or something else? See you soon, and take care of your heart.